I was halfway through my shift at the hospital when my phone buzzed. A text from my mother. I opened it, expecting vacation photos. Instead, I saw my 8-year-old daughter sitting alone on an airport bench, crying, clutching her backpack. The text read, "We all voted that she should stay. Flight's boarding. Tell her you'll get her tomorrow." My hands started shaking. I called immediately. Straight to voicemail. I checked the flight tracker app. Flight 2840, 7 to Hawaii, departed 12 minutes ago. First-class passengers included my parents, my sister Amanda, her husband Craig, and their 2 kids. Coach section showed 1 empty seat. Lily's seat. I told my supervisor there was a family emergency and ran to my car. The 40-minute drive to the airport felt like hours. My mind wouldn't stop racing. Why would they do this? How could they? This was supposed to be Lily's first real vacation. My parents had invited both of us 3 months ago, then called 2 weeks before departure, saying there was only room for Lily because I couldn't get time off work anyway. I'd saved for 6 months to send her. 6 months of extra shifts and skipped meals and budgeting every single dollar so my daughter could have 1 week of happiness with her grandparents. I'd packed her suitcase so carefully. New swimsuit, sunscreen, the special aloe vera lotion for sensitive skin. I'd written out her medication schedule for her mild asthma. I'd included her favorite stuffed elephant even though she insisted she was too old for it. I'd kissed her goodbye at my apartment that morning, watched my parents pick her up, told her to have the best time of her life. That was 7 hours ago. Now I was speeding down the highway. My nurse's scrub still on. My heart hammering so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. I found her with airport security near Gate B-17. The moment Lily saw me, she collapsed into my arms, sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. Her face was blotchy and red. Her eyes were swollen. She smelled like fear and confusion and that particular scent of a child who's cried until there's nothing left. "Mama," she gasped between sobs. "Mama, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to be good. Baby, you didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. Do you hear me?" But Grandma said I was too much trouble. My blood turned to ice. I pulled back to look at her face. "Tell me exactly what happened." Through hiccuping tears, Lily explained. They'd all been at the gate together. Everything seemed fine. They were talking about which beach they'd visit first, what flavor of shaved ice they'd get. Then my mother kept checking her phone and glancing at my father. Finally, my father said they needed to talk about something important. They all huddled together. My mother, my father, my sister Amanda, Amanda's husband Craig, even Lily's cousins Dylan who's 10 and Zoe who's 12. They formed this tight circle and whispered. Lily stood outside it, confused, holding her backpack. Then my mother turned around and announced, "We took a family vote. You're too much trouble for this trip, sweetie. Your mom can come pick you up." Just like that. Cold, clinical, a family vote. Lily said she didn't understand at first. She thought it was a joke. But then they started walking toward the gate. She ran after them, reaching for my mother's hand. My mother pulled away. A gate agent stopped Lily from following them onto the jetway. She watched them disappear. Watched them board without her. Watched the door close. She'd been sitting on that bench for 45 minutes before I got there. While I held my daughter and promised her everything would be okay, my phone buzzed again. A group text notification. A chat I didn't even know existed, labeled Hawaii Crew. My sister Amanda had posted photos from the first-class lounge. Champagne glasses. Chocolate. Covered strawberries on a fancy tray. Everyone smiling. The caption made my stomach turn. Already the best vacation ever. So peaceful without the drama. I scrolled through the comments. My mother. This is what family trips should feel like. My father. Worth every penny of the upgrade. Craig. The kids are finally relaxed. I stared at those words until they blurred. They'd upgraded to first class. They'd left Lily's economy seat empty. This wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't a split-second decision at the gate. They'd planned this. The vote wasn't real family democracy. It was premeditated cruelty, dressed up as consensus. I tried calling my parents. The call went through, but no one answered. I tried again. Blocked. I called Amanda. Also blocked. They'd locked me out before they even took off. I drove Lily home. She wouldn't stop crying. She wouldn't eat the chicken nuggets I'd picked up from the drive. She kept asking variations of the same question. Why doesn't Grandma love me? What did I do wrong? Why am I too much trouble? Am I bad? Each question was a knife in my chest. By midnight, Lily had finally cried herself to sleep in my bed, curled around her stuffed elephant. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open. I wasn't crying. I wasn't screaming. I was thinking. I opened a search engine and typed, "child abandonment laws." Then I made 3 phone calls. The first was to my friend Rachel, who's a lawyer. The second was to Lily's school. The third was to someone I knew would keep a secret. By 2 in the morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I took the next day off work. Lily refused to go to school. She'd barely slept, kept waking up from nightmares about being left places. Airports, grocery stores, parks, always alone. Always watching people walk away from her. I let her stay home. We sat on the couch together. I documented everything. Photos of her tear, stained face, the way her hands shook when she tried to eat breakfast. I recorded her asking me questions. "Mama, do you think they'll ever want to see me again? Do Dylan and Zoe hate me too?" Her voice was so small. I took screenshots of every message in that group chat. The timestamp showing when my calls were blocked. The comments about peace and relaxation without drama. I saved everything to 3 different places. Cloud storage, external hard drive, email drafts. This wasn't the first time my parents had chosen Amanda over me. It was just the loudest. I got pregnant when I was 23. Lily's father disappeared the moment I told him. I decided to keep her anyway. My parents were horrified. Not because they were religious or conservative, but because it was inconvenient. Because it didn't fit their image of what their daughters' lives should look like. Amanda had done everything right. She'd graduated college, landed a good job, married Craig, who owns a successful dental practice. They bought a 4-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood, had 2 kids at appropriate intervals, posted perfect family photos on social media. Amanda was their proof that they'd done parenting correctly. I was their failure. The daughter who made bad choices. The single mother struggling on a nurse's salary. The one who couldn't get her life together. Except I had gotten my life together. I worked hard. I paid my bills. I raised a good kid. Lily was smart and funny and kind. She asked a million questions because she was curious about the world. She had energy because she was 8 years old. She sometimes forgot her manners because she was learning. She was normal. But my parents didn't see normal. They saw inconvenient. They saw noise and mess and complication. They saw everything they'd decided I was. Amanda's kids, Dylan and Zoe, were quiet because they'd learned that speaking up got them criticized. Craig was controlling about everything from table manners to homework to how loudly they could laugh. Amanda was exhausting herself trying to maintain her image of the perfect family. Those kids weren't better than Lily. They were scared. On day 2, I sent 1 text to the Hawaii crew group chat. I could still see the messages, even though I couldn't reply. Got Lily home safe. She's pretty shaken up. We're taking some time to process this. Enjoy your vacation. No anger, no accusations, just facts. On the plane to Hawaii, my parents and Amanda read my text. According to the messages that followed, they laughed about it. Amanda wrote, "She's so dramatic. Lily's fine." My mother, "That girl needs to learn she can't always get her way." My father, "We did the right thing. She'll understand eventually." Craig, "Can we please just enjoy this trip without talking about them?" They ordered more champagne, posted more photos, sunset over the ocean, tropical drinks, matching family tea, shirts that said Ohana means family with a cartoon palm tree. The irony was lost on them. Day 3 brought an unexpected phone call. Mrs. Patterson, the school counselor, asked if I had a moment to talk. Lily had told her teacher what happened at the airport. The teacher was a mandated reporter. She'd filed documentation with the school about suspected child endangerment. Not against me, against my parents. Mrs. Patterson explained that, while this might not rise to the level of criminal charges, it absolutely warranted documentation. She asked if I wanted to file a formal complaint with Child Protective Services. I said, "Not yet. But please keep everything on record." "Of course. Haley, I'm so sorry this happened to Lily. She's a wonderful child." "Thank you. She is." After that call, I made another one. To my parents' neighbors, the Hendersons. Sweet elderly couple who'd lived next door for 20 years. I mentioned casually that my parents were in Hawaii and asked if they wouldn't mind keeping an eye on the house. You know how neighborhoods can be these days. Mrs. Henderson was delighted to help. "Of course, dear. We'll watch the place. You're such a thoughtful daughter." I thanked her and hung up. What my family didn't know: I had keys to my parents' house. They'd given me a spare set 2 years ago for emergencies, in case something happens and we need you to check on things. Well, this was an emergency. Day 4 in Hawaii looked perfect on social media. Beach photos, luau attendance, fancy restaurant dinners. Amanda posted constantly, each caption more performative than the last, making memories with the people who matter most. Quality family time is everything. Grateful for these moments. My mother commented on every single post with praise. "My beautiful, successful daughter. This is what life is about. So proud of this family." The photos never included me or Lily. We'd been erased. Back home, I drove to my parents' house. I used my key and let myself in. I wasn't there to vandalize anything. I wasn't there to steal. I was there to see the truth with my own eyes. In my mother's closet, I found a large box labeled in her neat handwriting, "Amanda's Kids, Holidays." Inside were 24 wrapped presents, Christmas gifts bought months in advance, birthday presents, back, to, school clothes from expensive brands, toys that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. I checked price tags. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of items. Next to that box sat a small plastic bag. The label said, "Lily." I opened it. 3 items. A used book from a thrift store, pages yellowed and bent. A clearance, rack sweater, 2 sizes too small, with a faded cartoon character on it. A knock, off doll missing 1 shoe and with matted hair. I took photos of everything. The contrast, the disparity, the visual proof of exactly how much my parents valued their grandchildren differently. In my father's study, I found his filing cabinet. He kept paper records of everything. Old, fashioned, and meticulous. Bank statements, investment accounts, checkbooks with carbon copies of every check written. I flipped through 5 years of records, check after check made out to Amanda. $500 every single month for 5 years. The memo line always said, "For the grandkids' activities." I did the math in my head. That's $30,000. I'd asked my parents for help exactly 3 times. Once when Lily needed an emergency dental procedure, and I was between insurance plans. Once when my car broke down and I couldn't afford the repair. Once when daycare costs went up, and I was struggling to make rent. They'd said no every time. "You made your choices, Haley. You need to learn to live with them." But Amanda got $500 a month, for 5 years, for activities. I photographed every bank statement, every check, every record. Then I walked through their house and looked at something I'd stopped noticing years ago because it hurt too much: the photos. Every wall had frames, dozens of them, professional portraits, vacation snapshots, school pictures, graduations, holidays. Every single photo was of Amanda, Craig, Dylan, and Zoe, their perfect family unit, smiling in matching outfits, posed on beaches, standing in front of Christmas trees. I searched the entire house: living room, hallway, bedrooms, kitchen, study. Not one photo of Lily. Not even from when she was born. I was in maybe 3 pictures total, all from before I got pregnant. High school graduation, college acceptance letter celebration, One awkward family portrait from when I was 16. After that, I'd been edited out of their visual history. I took photos of the empty spaces, the walls that told a story about who mattered. I didn't take anything. I didn't move anything. I just documented the truth and locked the door behind me when I left. Day 5 brought the first crack in their perfect vacation. Amanda's most recent Instagram post had been shared to a local community social media group, a popular one with thousands of members from our area. Someone recognized them. Actually, someone recognized the situation. A gate agent who'd been working that day had posted something vague on her personal page about entitled passengers who abandoned a crying child at the airport and then boarded first class like nothing happened. She hadn't used names, but she'd been bothered enough to write about it. Someone connected the dots between that post and Amanda's vacation photos. The timing matched, the flight matched, the first class detail matched. Comments started flooding in. Is this the family that left that little girl at the airport? I saw this. I was at that gate. The poor child was sobbing. First class while ditching a grandchild? What kind of people do this? I know these people. They go to my church. I'm absolutely horrified. Someone should report this to CPS. The post was shared 47 times in 3 hours. Amanda saw it happen in real time. She was poolside at the resort, scrolling through her phone, when her face went pale. She started deleting her Hawaii posts frantically. All of them, every photo, every caption, every comment. But screenshots exist forever. People had already saved them, already shared them, already paired them with the gate agent's story to create a complete picture of what had happened. Craig got an email on day 6 from his practice manager. Urgent. Call immediately. When he called back, the manager explained that their largest client, a corporation that provided dental benefits to 500 employees, was reviewing their provider relationships. There had been concerns raised about whether the practice's values aligned with company culture. Translation. People had seen the viral posts. They'd connected Craig to the airport abandonment. The company was considering dropping his practice. 500 patients. Gone. Just like that. Amanda's phone kept buzzing with texts. Her book club group chat was active. She opened it hopefully, thinking maybe someone was defending her. Instead, Amanda, we think it's best if you take some time away from the group. Several members are uncomfortable after seeing the social media posts. She'd been kicked out of her book club. My parents' neighbors, the Sweet Hendersons, mentioned over the fence that they'd seen some concerning posts online. My father tried to laugh it off. Social media nonsense. People love drama. Mr. Henderson didn't smile. It seemed pretty specific, actually. That was your granddaughter, wasn't it? My father stopped laughing. Day 7. The flight home. The family boarded their return flight in silence. No champagne this time. No excited chatter. Craig was furious, typing aggressively on his phone. Amanda's eyes were red from crying. Her parents kept insisting they'd done nothing wrong, but their voices were too loud, too defensive. Dylan and Zoe sat quietly, confused by the tension, scared by their parents' anger. When the plane landed and everyone turned their phones off airplane mode, messages flooded in. Craig's phone lit up with notifications. His practice manager had called 4 times. 3 more corporate clients had sent cancellation notices. His online reviews, which had been consistently excellent, were now flooded with 1-star ratings. The comments all mentioned the same thing: family abandonment, cruelty to children, values inconsistent with healthcare. His business was hemorrhaging. Amanda's phone showed messages from her homeowners association. Multiple neighbors had filed complaints about her family. The HOA board wanted to schedule a meeting to discuss the situation. Her part-time job at a boutique had left a voicemail asking her not to come in for her next shift while they assessed the situation. My parents' phones showed messages from their church group. The ladies' auxiliary wanted to talk. The retirement community newsletter editor needed a statement about allegations circulating on social media. My mother called me first. I answered on the 3rd ring. What did you do? Her voice was shrill, panicked. What did you tell people? I haven't told anyone anything. I've been taking care of my traumatized daughter. You're lying! You turned everyone against us. No. You did that yourselves when you abandoned an 8-year-old at an airport. When you posted about how peaceful it was without her. When you called her drama. It wasn't like that. You're twisting everything. You're making us look like monsters. I didn't make you do anything. I didn't write your group chat messages. I didn't take your photos. I didn't caption them. You did all of that. You showed everyone exactly who you are. We'll never forgive you for this. Good, I said, and hung up. 2 hours later, Amanda arrived home. Her house had been egged. Not random vandalism. Someone had left a note tucked into her mailbox. Family values matter. One of her neighbors. Someone who'd seen the posts. Someone who was angry enough to act. She called the police. They took a report. The officer who responded recognized her from the social media posts. His tone was professional but cold. We'll do what we can, ma'am. Though I have to say, I saw those posts too. My daughter is 8. I can't imagine doing something like that to her. Amanda closed the door and sobbed. Craig made it to his dental practice the next morning. 6 more cancellation notices waited in his inbox. 2 of his dental hygienists had requested transfers to other offices in the larger practice network. They didn't want to work for him anymore. His receptionist quit, no notice, just an email that said, "I can't work for someone who treats children that way. Consider this my resignation." He called me, screaming, "You ruined us. This is your fault. Do you understand what you've done?" I haven't done anything. Don't lie to me. You started this. I didn't start anything. You all made choices. You abandoned my daughter. You posted about it publicly. You were cruel. And you were stupid enough to document your cruelty. Those were your decisions. Now you're experiencing consequences. We'll sue you for defamation. For what? I haven't said anything publicly. I haven't posted anything. I haven't lied about anything. But you know what I do have? Documentation. Photos. Recordings. Text messages. The group chat. Everything. So, if you want to go legal, Craig, let's go. I'll see you in court. And I'll bring evidence. The line went dead. I sat at my kitchen table, hands steady, heart calm. I hadn't attacked them publicly. I hadn't lied. I hadn't manipulated anyone. I'd simply let their own actions speak. And documented everything carefully. That afternoon, my father showed up at my apartment building. I saw him from my window, pacing in the parking lot. I went downstairs but didn't invite him inside. We stood in the doorway. "You've destroyed this family," he said. His face was red, veins bulging in his neck. "You destroyed this family when you played favorites for 8 years. When you gave Amanda $30,000 and me nothing. When you filled your house with photos of only one daughter's children. When you left my child crying at an airport. How do you know about the money? Did you break into our house? I used my key, the one you gave me for emergencies, and I saw everything. The gifts, the photos, the bank records, all of it." His face went white. "That's private. So is abandoning a child, but you did it anyway." He stepped closer, trying to intimidate me with his size. "It didn't work. If you don't fix this, if you don't tell everyone it was a misunderstanding, we'll take you to court. We'll sue for custody of Lily. We'll prove you're an unfit mother. You work too much. You're struggling financially. You're turning our granddaughter against her family." Every word he said was a mistake. Every threat was ammunition. But he was too angry to realize it. "Get off my property. We'll take Lily from you." I looked him directly in the eyes. "Try it." He left. I closed the door, locked it. Then I made a phone call. Everything was about to change. The custody threat was the line I'd been waiting for them to cross. Up until that moment, I'd been defensive. Strategic, but measured. Now the gloves came off. My first call went to Rachel, my lawyer friend. I explained the threat. She was outraged. "They abandoned her at an airport, and now they're claiming you're unfit? Haley, we need to act immediately. If they file first, we're playing catch up. We file first." Within 2 hours, we'd filed for a restraining order, on behalf of Lily, against all 4 adults, both grandparents, Amanda, and Craig. The filing cited emotional abuse, child abandonment, and psychological harm. Court documents are public record. Anyone could search the docket and see it. My second call went to Mrs. Patterson, the school counselor. I'm ready to file that formal complaint now. She submitted the report to Child Protective Services that afternoon. An investigation opened. Not into me, into my parents and my sister's family. My third call went to a local news reporter I knew from the hospital. I'd treated her mother last year during a bad pneumonia case. We'd talked a few times since then. I didn't tell her what to investigate. I just mentioned there might be an interesting story about child abandonment and wealthy families at the airport and gave her the date and flight number. Journalists love a good story. She said she'd look into it. The dominoes started falling fast. Craig's dental practice lost 40% of its client base within 10 days of the airport incident. Corporate clients, individual families, people who'd been patients for years. They left in droves. His overhead was massive. Big office space, multiple employees, expensive equipment, high insurance premiums. He couldn't sustain those losses. He had to lay off 2 employees. Word spread through the local dental community. More clients left. They didn't want to go to a practice that was unstable, that might close, that was associated with scandal. Amanda's life collapsed socially. The HOA meeting happened. Neighbors presented printed screenshots of her social media posts. They couldn't legally force her family to move, but they made it clear she wasn't welcome at community events. No more pool parties, no more holiday gatherings, no more book club, no more casual coffee mornings with other moms. Her part-time job at the boutique officially terminated her employment. The owner said it was about brand alignment. The boutique catered to mothers and children. Having an employee associated with child abandonment was bad for business. Amanda was exiled in her own neighborhood. My parents' retirement community became uncomfortable. Their church group voted to ask them to step down from volunteer positions. The women's auxiliary said it was best if my mother didn't coordinate events anymore. The men's golf league suggested my father take a break. Retirement communities run on social connection. Being ostracized there meant isolation. My parents started eating dinner alone every night in their big house, full of photos of only one granddaughter's family. The news story hit on day 12. The reporter had done her research. She'd interviewed the gate agent who'd witnessed the abandonment. She'd reviewed social media posts. She'd contacted the airport. She'd built a complete picture. The headline: When Family Vacations Exclude Family. The Dark Side of Grandparent Favoritism. She didn't use names directly, but she included enough details that anyone local would recognize them. The airport. The flight to Hawaii. The first-class upgrade. The 8-year-old left behind. The social media posts about peace and relaxation. The article went viral locally. Thousands of shares, hundreds of comments. The Child Protective Services investigation moved forward. An investigator came to interview Lily at our apartment. I was present but let Lily speak for herself. The investigator was kind, patient. She asked Lily to describe what happened at the airport. Lily told her everything. Then the investigator asked about other times she'd felt excluded or treated differently than her cousins. Lily's answer broke my heart all over again. She talked about Christmases where Dylan and Zoe got piles of expensive presents and she got 1 or 2 small things. About family dinners where Grandma praised Dylan's school grades but never asked about Lily's. About birthday parties for her cousins that she wasn't invited to. About conversations where adults compared her unfavorably to Dylan and Zoe. The investigator took detailed notes. Then she interviewed Dylan and Zoe separately at Amanda's house. I wasn't there for that, but Rachel got the report later. Dylan, age 10, broke down. He admitted he'd felt terrible about Lily being left at the airport. He said his mom told him and Zoe that Lily caused problems and ruined family time. That his dad got angry whenever they mentioned wanting to play with Lily. That Grandma always compared them and said they were the good grandkids. Zoe, age 12, was more defensive. She tried to protect her parents at first, but eventually she confirmed the favoritism. She said she didn't think the airport thing was that big of a deal because Aunt Haley always figures things out anyway. The CPS report was damning. The investigator concluded that while there wasn't evidence of physical abuse or severe enough emotional abuse to remove children from homes, there was clear documentation of favoritism, emotional harm, and a traumatic abandonment event that had caused psychological distress to a minor. The report would stay on file. If anything else happened, this history would matter. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for day 14 after the abandonment. Rachel and I walked into that courtroom with a banker's box full of evidence. My parents showed up with an expensive lawyer. They looked confident. They thought they could explain it away, make themselves the victims. The judge reviewed the petition. My parents' lawyer presented their side. This was a family disagreement blown out of proportion. They'd made an error in judgment but had apologized. Haley was being vindictive. Then Rachel stood up. She presented the timeline. The text message with, "We all voted that she should stay." Printed screenshots from the Hawaii crew group chat, showing the comments about peace and drama. The financial records, showing 8 years of giving Amanda $500 monthly while giving me nothing. Photos of the gift disparity. Photos of their home with 0 pictures of Lily anywhere. The CPS report. Testimony from the school counselor. Medical records documenting Lily's anxiety spikes and nightmares since the abandonment. And finally, a video. Rachel and I had recorded it with Lily's full permission and understanding. 8-year-old Lily, sitting on our couch, speaking directly to the camera. "My name is Lily. I'm 8 years old. My grandma and grandpa left me at the airport. They said everyone voted that I should stay behind. I don't understand why. I tried to be good. I thought they loved me. But now I don't think they do. And I don't want to see them anymore because it hurts too much." Her voice was clear. She wasn't coached. She was honest. And she was heartbreaking. The judge watched the entire video in silence. When it ended, she looked at my parents with disgust. Petition granted. You do not have a case for any kind of visitation or contact with this child. You abandoned her. You psychologically harmed her. You demonstrated clear favoritism that caused trauma. This court finds your behavior reprehensible. The restraining order will stand for 6 months, at which point we can review if circumstances have changed. If you attempt to contact this child during that time, you will face legal consequences. This hearing is concluded. My parents sat frozen in shock. Their expensive lawyer looked uncomfortable. They'd lost. Completely. Outside the courthouse, my father tried one more manipulation. "You've destroyed this family, Haley. I hope you're happy." "No. You destroyed this family. I just refused to pretend it was okay." My mother's voice was shaking. "We gave you everything growing up. You gave Amanda everything. You gave me expectations and criticism. There's a difference. And you gave Lily nothing but pain. We'll never forgive you for this." I looked at them both. These people who'd raised me, who'd held me as a baby, who'd taught me to ride a bike and helped with homework and showed up to school plays. These people who'd also decided I wasn't worth loving once I didn't fit their plan. "I don't need your forgiveness. I needed your love. And you never had that to give, at least not to me or Lily. So we're done. You lost a granddaughter and a daughter. Not because I'm vindictive. Because you showed us exactly who you are, and we finally believed you." I took Lily's hand. We walked to our car. We didn't look back. 3 weeks after the airport abandonment, the consequences were in full force. Craig filed for divorce. The papers were served to Amanda on a Tuesday morning. She called me, sobbing, begging me to talk to him. I told her I had no influence over her husband's decisions. That was true. But it was also true that I had no desire to help her. Craig moved out that same week. Rented an apartment across town. The house Amanda lived in had been purchased with Craig's money. His name was on the mortgage. The divorce filing made it clear he wanted to sell. Amanda couldn't afford that house on her own. She had no income. Her part-time boutique job was gone. Her parents' monthly checks had stopped because they were hemorrhaging money trying to repair their own reputations. She was going to lose her home. Craig's dental practice was failing catastrophically. He'd lost 60% of his client base. His revenue had dropped by more than half. His remaining staff was demoralized. He was considering bankruptcy or selling the practice at a massive loss to a larger dental corporation. His professional reputation was ruined. In the small community of medical providers in our area, everyone knew what had happened. Other dentists didn't want to associate with him. Vendors were less willing to extend credit. Everything was harder. My parents had moved out of their retirement community. They couldn't handle the social isolation. The whispers. The way former friends crossed the street to avoid them. They'd sold their house at a loss and relocated to a different retirement community in another state where nobody knew about the airport incident. They'd doubled down on their victimhood. According to Amanda, who still talked to them, they told everyone in their new community that their daughter had stolen their grandchild over a simple misunderstanding. That they were the victims of a vindictive, ungrateful child. They were bitter and isolated in a new place where they had no history and no real friends. Dylan and Zoe were suffering in ways that made me genuinely sad. Their parents were divorcing. They weren't allowed to see their grandparents because of the restraining order. They'd lost contact with their aunt and cousin. Kids at school knew about the airport incident. Some students bullied them about it. Others avoided them. They were paying for their parents' and grandparents' choices. On a Thursday afternoon, 4 weeks after everything started, Amanda showed up at my apartment. She was violating the restraining order technically, but since I was present, and she wasn't trying to contact Lily, it wasn't legally enforceable in that moment. She looked terrible. Unwashed hair. No makeup. Clothes that didn't match. She'd lost weight. Her hands shook. "Please," she said. "Please make this stop." I stood in my doorway. Didn't invite her in. I can't make anything stop. These are consequences of choices. My marriage is over. My kids are miserable. I've lost everything. What do you want from me? I want you to understand what you did. It was a mistake. We weren't thinking clearly. We got caught up in wanting the perfect vacation. No, Amanda, it wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidents. You planned this. You voted. You upgraded to first class and left her economy seat empty. You posted about how peaceful it was without her. You called my daughter drama. You participated in erasing her from your lives for 8 years. The airport was just the moment you said it out loud. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? She couldn't answer. That told me everything. Through her tears, she said something that made the whole picture clearer. Mom and Dad pushed for it. They said Lily was too much work, that she'd ruin the vacation with her questions and energy. Craig agreed because he didn't want to deal with what he called extra kid chaos. I just went along with it. I was weak. I wanted their approval. I've always wanted their approval. And there it was. My parents had orchestrated everything. They'd poisoned Amanda against me and Lily. They'd manipulated Craig. They'd involved Dylan and Zoe in their cruelty. This went so much deeper than one airport abandonment. Tell me what to do, Amanda begged. I'll do anything. I'll testify against Mom and Dad if you want. I'll admit everything publicly. Please. My kids are suffering. Dylan cries every night. This isn't their fault. I thought carefully. I'm not a monster. Dylan and Zoe are children. They didn't choose this. They participated because they were told to by the adults they trusted. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get therapy. Real therapy. Not just a couple sessions to check a box. You and Dylan and Zoe. You're going to take real accountability, not just empty apologies. You're going to rebuild your life without depending on Mom and Dad's money or approval. You're going to learn to be your own person. And maybe in a year or two, if Lily wants to see her cousins again, we'll talk. But you don't get to rush this. You don't get to make this convenient for you. What about Mom and Dad? They made their choices. They can live with them. Amanda nodded, wiping her face with her sleeve. Okay, thank you. She turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. I know you don't believe me, but I am. Then prove it. Through actions, not words. She left. 2 days later, I received a certified letter. My stomach dropped when I saw the return address, a law firm in the state where my parents had moved. I opened it. They were suing me for grandparent visitation rights. The lawsuit claimed they had an established relationship with Lily and that I was engaging in parental alienation by preventing contact. They were demanding court-ordered visitation. After everything, the abandonment, the restraining order, the CPS investigation. After losing in court once, they were trying again in a different jurisdiction. They would never stop. They would never acknowledge what they'd done. They would always see themselves as victims and me as the villain. I called Rachel. We had another court date to prepare for, but this time, I wasn't scared. I was ready. The court case for grandparent visitation was scheduled 6 weeks after the airport abandonment. My parents flew back for it, confident in their expensive legal team. Grandparent rights are real in our state. They thought they'd win. I showed up with Rachel and 3 boxes of evidence. We'd expanded our documentation. Everything was organized, labeled, chronological. In the courtroom, the judge reviewed the petition. My parents' lawyer presented their argument first. They loved their granddaughter. They'd had a relationship with her for 8 years. This rift was recent and caused by their daughter's vindictiveness after a simple misunderstanding. They deserved to maintain contact with their grandchild. Then Rachel stood up and systematically destroyed their case. She presented the complete timeline of the abandonment, starting with the invitation 3 months prior, the reduction to only Lily being invited, and ending with the text message, "We all voted that she should stay." She showed the group chat screenshots in chronological order. The comments about peace and drama, the photos from first class, the way they'd blocked my calls before they'd even taken off. She presented the financial records showing 8 years of monthly $500 checks to Amanda, but nothing to me. $30,000 to one daughter's family, 0 to the other. She showed photos of the gift disparity. 4 expensive presents for Amanda's kids. 3 cheap items for Lily. She showed photos of their house. Every wall, every room. Dozens of framed photos of Amanda's family. Not a single photo of Lily anywhere in the entire house. She presented the CPS report with testimony from Dylan and Zoe, confirming years of favoritism and comparison. She showed the school counselor's documentation of Lily's trauma response. She presented medical records showing increased anxiety, nightmares, and difficulty sleeping since the abandonment. And then she played the video again. Lily, speaking directly to the camera. "I don't want to see them. They don't love me. Being around them hurts." The courtroom was silent. The judge looked at my parents. Her expression was not sympathetic. "I've reviewed all the evidence presented. I've read the previous restraining order decision. I've examined the CPS report. What I see here is not a loving relationship disrupted by a misunderstanding. What I see is a pattern of favoritism, emotional neglect, and a culminating act of abandonment that traumatized a child. Your petition for grandparent visitation is denied. The existing restraining order will remain in effect. If you attempt to contact this child again, through legal means or otherwise, there will be consequences. This case is closed." My parents sat in stunned silence. Their lawyer gathered papers quickly, clearly uncomfortable. They'd lost again. This time more definitively. Outside the courthouse, my father made one last attempt at manipulation. "You've destroyed this family, Haley." I looked at him calmly. "No, you destroyed this family. I just refused to pretend it was okay." My mother's voice was sharp, desperate. "We gave you everything growing up. You gave Amanda everything. You gave me expectations and criticism and judgment, and you gave Lily nothing but pain. There's a difference. We'll never forgive you for this. You're dead to us." I paused, really looked at them both. These people who'd raised me, who'd shaped me, who'd also rejected me the moment I didn't fit their perfect image. "I don't need your forgiveness. I needed your love. And you never had that to give. At least not to me or Lily. You couldn't love us because we weren't what you wanted us to be. We were real and complicated and human. And that was too much for you. So we're done. You lost a granddaughter and a daughter. Not because I'm vindictive, Because you showed us exactly who you are, and we finally believed you. I took Lily's hand. She'd been waiting in a separate room during the hearing but came out when it was over. Can we go home now, Mama? Yes, baby. We can go home. We walked to our car. Lily chatted about what she wanted for dinner. Something normal. Something child-like. She was healing. We didn't look back at my parents standing on the courthouse steps. 6 months passed. Craig sold his dental practice to a large corporate chain for 30 cents on the dollar. He'd lost too much to sustain it. He moved to another state to start over. He sent child support checks, but had minimal contact with Dylan and Zoe beyond monthly phone calls. Amanda got a job as a receptionist at a medical office. She moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment. She was in therapy every week. So were Dylan and Zoe. She'd written me 3 letters over those 6 months. Not asking for anything, just apologizing, acknowledging what she'd done and how she'd enabled our parents, taking real accountability. She was learning that her worth didn't come from our parents' approval, that she could build a life based on her own values instead of their expectations. My parents had settled into their new retirement community in another state. According to the occasional updates I heard through distant relatives, they'd maintained their victimhood story. They told everyone who'd listen that their daughter had stolen their grandchild over a simple misunderstanding, that they were blameless victims of a vindictive child. They were bitter, isolated, surrounded by people who didn't really know them. They'd chosen pride over accountability, and that choice had cost them everything. But Lily was thriving. The nightmares had stopped after about 2 months. She was back to being joyful and energetic and full of questions. She was in play therapy, learning that she was worthy of love exactly as she was. That she wasn't too much. That the problem had never been her. I got a promotion at the hospital. Better pay, better hours, more stability. I started dating someone I'd met through a friend. His name was Marcus. He was kind, patient. He had a daughter from a previous relationship and understood single parenting. He met Lily slowly, carefully. They got along well. I was building a chosen family. Friends who showed up, co-workers who supported me. People who loved Lily for exactly who she was. One afternoon, 8 months after the airport, Amanda called. She asked carefully if Dylan and Zoe could see Lily at a supervised playdate, maybe at a park, with me present. I thought about it, talked to Lily about it, asked if she wanted to see her cousins. Lily thought hard. Are they going to be mean to me? I won't let anyone be mean to you. Ever again. Okay. I miss Dylan. He was always nice to me when the grown-ups weren't looking. We met at a park on a Saturday. Amanda brought Dylan and Zoe. I stayed close to Lily, watching carefully. The kids were awkward at first. Then Dylan apologized to Lily. Really apologized. I'm sorry we left you at the airport. I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you. That was wrong. Zoe nodded. I'm sorry too. Lily accepted their apologies. They started playing on the swings. Within 20 minutes, they were laughing together. Amanda and I stood apart, watching them. Thank you, Amanda said quietly, for not punishing my kids for my mistakes. They're innocent. They always were. Just like Lily. I'm trying to be better. To teach them different values. That love isn't conditional. That family means showing up, not performing. Good, keep doing that. We didn't hug. We weren't close. But there was a tentative understanding between us. A few weeks later, I sat with Lily at bedtime. She was looking through a photo album I'd made for her. Pictures of us together. Our little family. Friends who loved us. Mama, do you think Grandma and Grandpa will ever say they're sorry? I thought carefully about how to answer. Honesty, but gentle. Maybe. But probably not in a way that matters. Some people are more committed to being right than to being in relationship. They care more about protecting their image than about the people they've hurt. That's sad. It is. But it's also freeing. What do you mean? It means we get to choose who we let into our lives. We get to decide who's worthy of our time and love. And we choose people who choose us back. People who show up. People who love us for exactly who we are. Lily thought about that. I choose you, Mama. My throat tightened with emotion. I choose you too, baby. Always. Forever. No matter what. She hugged me tight. We're a good team. The best team. 9 months after the airport, Lily and I took our own vacation. Just the two of us. A beach trip. Coach seats on the plane. Budget hotel with a view of the parking lot instead of the ocean. It didn't matter. We built sandcastles, collected shells, ate ice cream for breakfast, stayed up too late watching movies, splashed in the waves until we were exhausted. As we boarded the plane home, Lily held my hand. Mama? This was the best vacation ever. Yeah? Yeah. Because you didn't leave me. Those 4 words said everything. I'd learned something profound through all of this. The hardest thing I ever did wasn't fighting back against my parents. It was accepting that some people, even your own family, will never love you the way you deserve. And that's not your fault. It's not your failing. It's theirs. You can't force people to value you. But you can refuse to diminish yourself for their comfort. You can set boundaries. You can protect your child. You can walk away from toxicity, even when it's wrapped in the word family. Fighting back doesn't always mean screaming or revenge. Sometimes it means being strategic, documenting truth, standing firm, letting natural consequences unfold, speaking calmly and consistently. Most importantly, I taught Lily something I wished someone had taught me earlier. You are enough. Exactly as you are. Anyone who makes you feel otherwise is wrong. And you don't have to accept their treatment just because you share DNA. Blood doesn't make family. Love does. Showing up does. Choosing each other every single day does. We buckled our seatbelts. The plane took off. We were going home together. Both of us. Because that's what real family does. Have you ever had to cut ties with family members who were toxic? How did you protect yourself or your children from people who were supposed to love you? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe for more stories about overcoming family betrayal and finding your own strength. Share this with anyone who needs to hear that it's okay to set boundaries, even with family. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that you deserve love, respect, and people who choose you back. Take care of yourselves and the people who truly matter.